Part 21. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 201. On the 28th day of the 6th lunar month, Feng Qingxiu was awakened by the chirping of birds outside the window. When she opened the door, she saw that the white fish belly was exposed in the east. The morning breeze was gentle, but it was still hot. Looking back, she saw her sister still sleeping soundly on the bed. Feng Qingxiu smiled softly, calmed down her joyful and expectant mood, and opened the cupboard to check the melon seeds, candies, cooked peanuts, and other things that had been prepared inside. A wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event and should not be taken lightly. Therefore, Feng Qingxiu was extraordinarily well prepared and asked Zhang He to send some of it to Lu Zhang in private. Previously, she asked her uncle and aunt about how to prepare a wedding banquet, and got an answer that was both expected and unexpected. Because of the lack of supplies, it is not popular for many young men and women in the countryside to hold banquets when they get married. A bowl of sugar tea is the best entertainment for guests. If you have a little capital, you will prepare a few dishes and entertain guests who bring their own dry food. Yes, in addition to tables, chairs, benches, bowls and chopsticks, guests also bring their own dry food. Everyone who attends a wedding banquet or is a guest at someone else's home will consciously bring their own dry food without anyone reminding them. People holding weddings only need to fry a few dishes and put them on the table. If they can get 8 dishes together and one of them has a little bit of meat in it, it is considered a good banquet. The dishes at Feng Qingxiu's house are all brought together by her relatives and neighbors. There are dried vegetables, fresh vegetables, and wild vegetables, all of which were selected yesterday. The people who came to help didn't let her worry at all, and consciously brought tables, chairs, benches, bowls, and chopsticks and other items. No wonder many people in later generations still remember this era. It was so simple and honest that it deserves everyone's respect. Feng Qingxiu has no brother or sister-in-law. The closest people in the clan are her second uncle and second aunt, so they are solely responsible for her marriage. In the past few days, they have been doing their best to take care of everything, and they have done better than Feng's father and Feng's mother. Why do you say that? Because Feng's father and Feng's mother valued boys over girls, they didn't pay attention to Feng Qingxiu at all. Feng Qingxiu closed the cupboard and locked it, and handed the key to second aunt Feng, who came over early in the morning. Second aunt, my predecessor went out and asked someone to get some strips of bacon, some eggs, and sausages. I told you yesterday the peanuts, melon seeds, and candies are all in the cupboard. I won't be here at noon, so don't forget to take them out to serve the guests. Thank you for your help these days. Where can we use so many good things? A table with half a catty of bacon is the best banquet. You can take the rest as a dowry. No one will dare to look down on you when you get there, second aunt Feng said in particular. Feeling distressed, Feng Qingxiu smiled slightly. I'm here to replenish everyone's fluids. No matter whether I bring something with me or not, they won't look down on me. I don't know who you followed for your generosity. With these good things, the people who help must be more attentive. Aunt Feng sighed, took out 2 hot-boiled eggs from her pocket and stuffed them into Feng Qingxiu's hand, said, when people arrive in a while, you won't have time to eat. I will pick you up over there. I don't know when I will be able to eat. Eat 2 eggs first to cushion your stomach. Thank you, second aunt. Feng Qingxiu did not refuse. By the time she finished the eggs in small bites, Aunt Feng had already looked at the things in the cupboard and said excitedly, in the past 10 years, and in the next 10 years, no one can do as well as you do when going out this time. Scrambled eggs are the same. The same fried bacon, the same fried sausages, 2 large meats per table, and melon seeds and peanut candies, plus stir-fried with lard in an oil jar. I'm sure everyone's mouths will be full of oil. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 202. Aunt Feng's excitement hadn't faded yet, so Zhang He was ordered to bring a plate of tofu. Aunt Shui, Uncle Lu Jiang's comrades specially brought 2 plates of tofu from the city. Uncle Lu Jiang was worried that Aunt Shui's dishes were not enough to entertain the distinguished guests, so he asked me to send a plate over for everyone. It's very busy over there, I'll go first, let's go. Before he finished speaking, the river had already flown away. Staring at the white and tender tofu in front of her, Aunt Feng slapped her thigh and said, "Good guy, another big dish." Not to mention tofu, for ordinary people, bean dregs are good things. Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled, and the pear vortex suddenly appeared, which was indescribably beautiful. Aunt Feng gave her a thumbs up and said, "Xiaoxiu, you've found a good partner. Of course, Ajiang is naturally the best." Yes, your son-in-law is the best." After waking up Feng Qingyun, Aunt Feng cooked some porridge for her to drink, but did not let Feng Qingxiu drink it, fearing that she would relieve herself on the way to the wedding. Feng Qingxiu knew in her heart that it was really embarrassing to relieve herself frequently. Before her relatives and friends came to the door, she put on a neatly ironed red shirt and black trousers, tied on a red cloth belt with money inside, brushed her teeth carefully, washed her face, and finally painted her hands and face with a light layer of cream. Before packing, Ma Yan specially left a bottle of Yashuang cream for her to use today. The cream is very moisturizing, and her skin, which is already very white, makes her hands and face look as smooth as jade. Ma Yan, who was responsible for combing her hair, looked at Feng Qingxiu's delicate and smooth skin, then looked at her own rough, dark skin that looked like old tree bark, and said, "No wonder you keep acting ugly. Just your soft tofu-like skin makes you look ugly, it's enviable enough. Bai is as good as Shui, no wonder he is called Xiaoxiu, he really lives up to his name. Sister-in-law is joking. I'm the only one who has done nothing for 2 months." The shirt was long-sleeved and was worn together with black trousers. The skin of her whole body was covered tightly. Although her face and wrists were exposed, she waited until Ma Yan combed her hair and braided it into a big braid, tied it with a red headband and hung it on her shoulders. Then, she took out the big red gauze scarf with crisscrossed gold and silver threads and put it over her head, covering her face and neck. "This is great. She looks like a bride now," Ma Yan praised, feeling very envious in her heart. When she got married, she wore borrowed clothes and shoes without patches. After the wedding, she took them off and returned them to others. The betrothal gift from the in-laws family was a sack of sweet potato noodles, and the dowry from the mother-in-law's family was just a few old clothes. There was no banquet, and there was no wedding. It was just a matter of bowing and saluting the leader's portrait in front of the fellow villagers. Feng Qingxiu is the kind of beauty a bride should have. However, Ma Yan knew that she could not compete with Feng Qingxiu, and her husband could not compete with Lu Jiang. Although she was envious, she did not feel jealous, and instead felt happy for Feng Qingxiu. The scene of Feng Qingxiu's wedding was enough for them to say that they would not find it boring even for 20 years. Unintentionally catching a glimpse of the remaining bits and pieces of satin in the basket, Ma Yan had an idea, picked out a bright red piece, pinched out a double pomegranate flower, fixed it with needle and thread, found a wire as a stem, and pinned it to Feng Qingxiu's temples with a black hairpin. People are beautiful, flowers are gorgeous, people are more delicate than flowers. The red gauze scarf was covered on the head again, and through the gauze scarf, one could vaguely see its beauty, but not its color. Noisy noises gradually came from outside. Relatives and friends arrived one after another, including Wang Zhenqiu's brother and sister. Although they were from the Wanglu brigade, they were Feng Qingxiu's biological uncles and aunts. Of course, they should come to attend the niece's wedding, not the Lu family's wedding ceremony. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 203. Wang Zhenqiu's brother and sister were both empty-handed. They each gave Feng Qingxiu a little money, and they also killed one of their own roosters and brought it over. They were able to add a big dish to each table, which made the neighbors envious. No wonder Feng Qingxiu was able to find a good match and marry with great splendor. Who wouldn't want to have such generous relatives? Zhao Guihua and Li Qiuheng, who were watching the lively scene here from a distance, gritted their teeth and pulled the reluctant children to prevent them from getting closer. With the arrival of relatives and friends, the woman was soon greeted by a team to pick up the bride. The mule pulling the cart had a big red flower tied around its neck. Lu Zhang, who was wearing a straight military uniform, got out of the cart with a cane under his arm. He had one arm and one leg that was not well maintained, but his well-prepared arms and legs were enough for him to stand up with the help of crutches. He didn't want to have a once-in-a-lifetime wedding in a wheelchair. Today the weather is beautiful and the sky is clear. Lu Zhang had a military medal hanging on his chest. Under the sunlight, it shone brightly, almost blinding people's eyes. Seeing the military medals one after another, the onlookers were silent. They all knew that every military medal was paid for with blood. So, the 17 or 8 young men who came to welcome the bride and a young man also wearing a military uniform surrounded and supported Lu Zhang, and came to the door of the Feng family's thatched house unimpeded. Wang Zhenqiu stood at the door, laughing and scolding, "Cunning." "Uncle," Lu Zhang raised his eyebrows, "this is smart." He signaled Niu Yubao to offer cigarettes to Wang Zhenqiu and the elders of the Feng family. A big front door is enough to make the unsophisticated Feng family members smile. Everyone was happy and let Lu Zhang enter the house without stopping him. Niu Yubao and several young people quickly followed. Seeing Feng Qingxiu sitting on the bed surrounded by a group of women, except for Niu Yubao, several young men who came with Lu Zhang were stunned, their eyes widened, and they were full of feelings for Lu Zhang. Envy. I had long heard that Wang Zhenqiu's niece was beautiful, but I didn't expect that she would be so beautiful. It's like the fairy descending from the opera that I heard when I was a kid. Although they were filled with admiration in their hearts, they did not dare to say anything out loud. They were all human beings. They could praise Feng Qingxiu for being knowledgeable, intelligent, gentle, and virtuous, but they could not say that she was as beautiful as a flower. From the outside, she seemed very frivolous and could easily get into trouble. It was a kind of behavior, so they all stood behind Lu Zhang in an orderly manner. No one dared to make trouble for the bride, for fear of leaving a bad impression on the bride. If the bride were not Feng Qingxiu, or just average looking, they would have coaxed the groom to kiss the bride. Their daring and the women in the room gave way made it easier for Lu Zhang to reach Feng Qingxiu. "Qingxiu, I'm here to take you home," Lu Zhang spoke loudly, causing laughter from all around. Under the red gauze scarf, Feng Qingxiu's face was as red as fire. Wang Fengjiao, who was standing next to him, said with a smile, okay, Lu Zhang, please pick up Shui, get in the car and change your shoes without any embarrassment." He motioned to Feng Qingyun next to him to take Feng Qingxiu's shoes away. The leather shoes were handed to Lu Zhang. When she's not particular about it, the bride just walks to her husband's house with her shoes on. When it comes to being particular, the bride's shoes should not take away the soil from her mother's family. Lu Zhang asked about the simplified etiquette before accepting the bride, and accepted the shoes with a smile. "Sorry for the trouble, little sister." Niu Yubao next to him cleverly took out a red envelope and handed it to Feng Qingyun. "Little sister, this is a red envelope from your brother-in-law." "Thank you, brother-in-law," Feng Qingyun shouted sweetly. She was very reluctant to let her sister go out, but her uncle and aunt said that she couldn't go with her today. After her sister came back from 3 dynasties, she would take him to live with her in the Wanglu brigade. She was temporarily staying at her uncle's and aunt's house. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 204. Feng Ishong, the cousin of the second uncle's family, carried Feng Qingxiu out of the house and put it on a mule cart covered with a new quilt. Lu Zhang, who handed the crutch to Niu Yubao, thanked Feng Ishong and held Feng Qingxiu's hand with one hand. Snow puts on new leather shoes. It should be the responsibility of Feng Qingxiu's two brothers to carry the bride out, but they never showed up, so Feng Ishong came. Feng Qingxiu wore a pair of red socks on her feet, and no one could see the skin on her feet. Aunt Feng took the old shoes she had replaced and waited for the young man who came with Lu Zhang to load the dowry boxes, quilts, bicycles, sewing machines and other things one by one into the mule cart at the back. Said, "It's done, it's done. The ceremony is completed and the car is sold." The convoy went straight forward without turning back. It was a route planned in advance. It could still reach Lu's house by going around in a circle. The dowry on the car caused a fuss among the people watching on the street. Whose wedding in the countryside has such a scene? 2 big red boxes, 4 new quilts, a bicycle and a sewing machine, as well as a big red iron thermos, enamel basins, towels, food, etc. The groom is wearing military uniform leather shoes, and the bride is wearing a red shirt, black pants and black leather shoes. They are all brand new. Yes, with a flowing red gauze scarf covering her head, adding a stunning touch of bright color to the gray era. Although there is no sound of drums, the lively atmosphere is very unforgettable. As the branch secretary and captain of the Wanglu Brigade, he has always been responsible for presiding over the weddings of young men and women, so he did not stay at his niece's place for dinner. Instead, he came back with the motorcade and took the lead in entering the Lu family's new house. There are portraits of leaders on the walls of the nave, and plaster statues of national leaders in the middle. This was specially sent by Wang Zhenqiu. These two things will ensure that people who come to the Lu family to find trouble will not dare to enter the house and act recklessly. Not long after, Lu Zhang, who was leaning on crutches, came in side by side with Feng Qingxiu. The onlookers booed when they saw it. The commotion continued, but no one dared to make a fuss. Chen Ming, who was missing one of his hands, stood there and watched. Qianer was handing in public grain. Who didn't know that Chen Ming was the person in charge of the grain management office? That's called a powerful person. In order to ensure a smooth process of handing over public food in the future, they will definitely obey any instructions from Chen Ming. When you arrive at your husband's house, there is no custom of worshipping heaven and earth, or kneeling to your parents. In fact, it's not that there is no chance, it's that no one dares. Wang Zhenqiu cleared his throat. Okay, the newlyweds are here and the wedding has begun. Lu Zhang and Shui bow 3 times to the leader. Without saying a word, Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu bowed deeply 3 times to the plaster statues and portraits. Their pious attitude could be seen by everyone, even through the red gauze scarf on Feng Qingxiu's head. Wang Zhenqiu was particularly succinct. From now on, no matter you are poor or rich, no matter whether you face ups and downs or not, you must support each other and never give up. Shui, although you are my niece, you must remember that you are a family member of a soldier. You are a military wife. Everything after marriage must be based on the country. Lu Zhang works hard in the army to participate in training or fights for the country. You must take good care of your family at home. You cannot let Lu Zhang do it for personal reasons. Forget the public, don't let Lu Zhang have any worries. Yes, I have remembered what my uncle said. I am a military wife. I want my husband to have no worries in the army, so that he can serve the country and the people with confidence. Feng Qingxiu deserves 10 points. Seriously, no one doubts her sincerity. Okay, the ceremony is completed and sent to the bridal chamber. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 205. A sister-in-law of the Lu family had already carried the quilt from the mule cart to the east bedroom and placed it on the bed that had been covered with a mattress. Compared to Feng Qingxiu's lavish marriage of 4 quilts, the Lu family only had this one bed and one quilt. Although it is new, the batting thickness is very thin. Fortunately, the quilt cover was all red, bright red, with big peonies printed on the mattress, and a picture of 100 children on the quilt cover, which filled the room with joy. Apart from the quilt on the bed, the new house only has new furniture and nothing else. Based on this, it did not arouse other people's jealousy of wealth. When the dowry was moved in, the house was suddenly full. Before anyone could express their envy, the bride's arrival eclipsed everything in the house. When Lu Zhang lifted up the red gauze scarf, revealing his face that had always been shrouded in mist, everyone onlookers in the room exclaimed in amazement. As for Lu Zhang, he had long been stunned. He had always known that his wife was beautiful. Her simple dress could not hide her natural beauty. She had a round oval face and was very beautiful, dignified, and generous. She was gorgeous but not vulgar, elegant but not bland. But he never knew that she would be like this on the day of her wedding. It was so beautiful that he didn't know how to breathe or where to put his hands and feet. He could only hear the pounding of his heart. So handsome. The first person to express praise was an aunt from the Lu family. She was a woman and Lu Jiang's elder, so praising Feng Qingxiu for her good looks would not cause rumors. In fact, the Lu family has been passed down for hundreds of years, and it is not a lonely tree that is difficult to support. It's just that Lu's father's father was the eldest son and inherited most of the Lu family's business, which was later passed on to Lu's father, and Lu's fathers before the founding of the People's Republic of China. The uncles had almost completely ruined the family property. The cousins inherited a limited amount of the family property. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, some were classified as rich peasants and some as middle peasants. Before the founding of the People's Republic of China, there was a great disparity between the rich and the poor. After the founding of the People's Republic of China, there was such a disparity in composition that several families rarely interacted with each other. If Lu Zhang hadn't gotten married today, and married Wang Zhenqiu's niece, the cousins from Lu's father might not have shown up. Father Lu's father also had cousins, and Father Lu's grandfather also had brothers and cousins. Which family didn't leave any descendants? There are hundreds of people living near the house who have not left the 5th level, and most of them are classified as poor peasants, poor lower middle peasants, etc. Therefore, the Lu family is a powerful family in the Wanglu brigade, but they just don't stand out. After Lu Zhang introduced them one by one, Feng Qingxiu, who was sitting on the bed shyly and timidly, raised her head and nodded gently to everyone. As Lu Zhang called people, he called aunt, sister-in-law, eldest sister, and also told the other person's identity and identity. The looks are combined and kept in mind. Except for a few young men welcoming brides, other men rarely enter the new house, and most of the new houses are occupied by women. Feng Qin, how come you and the party secretary have such a handsome niece? What a beautiful flower! An old woman whom Lu Zhang called the third grandma took Miao Feng Qin's hand, grinned her toothless mouth, and wanted to say with Feng Qingxiu's appearance, she could marry into the city and enjoy happiness like her aunt. Then she thought that Lu Zhang was not bad either, so she swallowed these words. There are many people who have the same idea as Grandma Lu San, and they all have the feeling of flowers stuck in cow dung. Of course, cow dung refers to the ingredients of the Lu family, not Lu Zhang as a person. Lu Zhang is still very good and brings glory to the Lu family. Fortunately, Lu Zhang himself was up to date, otherwise it would have been a pity for Feng Qingxiu to marry him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 206. Miao Fengqin was very helpless. She often chatted with people in the countryside while traveling from home to home. How could she not guess what they were thinking? Not to mention them, even I felt that Feng Qingxiu was at a loss for marrying into the Lu family. No matter how outstanding Lu Zhang himself is, the Lu family's identity is a stain that can never be washed away. Fortunately, Lu Zhang is different from the Lu family. He has so many comrades to help him, and Lu Zhang is devoted to Feng Qingxiu. Miao Fengqin feels sad in her heart. Balanced. Third aunt, none of our daughters are ugly. Who among you doesn't know that? Qingxiu follows her mother. Upon hearing this, everyone nodded in agreement. That's true. How could your eldest sister-in-law be able to marry into the city if she wasn't pretty? Speaking of which, your sister-in-law and brother-in-law must have been together for a few years, right? Isn't it said that they are all cotters? Why are you mentioning them? Who doesn't know that they look down on us mud-legged people? It's unlucky to mention them. It's better to look at Fengqin's niece and feel comfortable. What a handsome daughter. It's an advantage for Lu Zhang. It's just that Lu Zhang is really lucky. We knew before that the party secretary's niece was handsome, but we didn't expect her to be so handsome. There are really no daughters in the Wang family who are not beautiful in the past 3 generations. In those days, every family had a girl who was sought after by many families. Not to mention the ones who are far away, she is delicate and looks like a flower. By the way, Fengqin, this cousin is out of town. When will the cousin's wedding take place? I've long heard that Zhang Yu wants to marry Jiao Jiao right away. Miao Fengqin smiled and said, his father said that after Qiu Ho is busy and everyone is free, he can send her out. Although she was very heartbroken by the loss of a large amount of property when her daughter ran away from home, the fact that her daughter no longer married Lu Zhang and often interacted with Zhang Yuejin was a bit of comfort to her husband and wife, but her greedy and playful character remained the same. Never changed despite repeated admonishment. Hey, that day is not far away. The corn and soybeans are in the ground and they will be harvested in 2 or 3 months. The next topic turned around Wang Qiao. When Wang Qiao, who was at the center of the topic, saw Feng Qingxiu's appearance, she was so shocked that the melon seeds in her hand fell to the ground without even noticing. She brushed up to Feng Qingxiu and squeezed Lu Zhang, who was standing in front of Feng Qingxiu. Aside. Qingxiu, is this your true face, isn't it too pretty? Wang Qiao, who had always been proud of her beauty, felt ashamed and stared at Feng Qingxiu's face. So white, so thin, so smooth, so tender, aren't these eggs that have been peeled? Makes you want to swallow it in one bite. Just as Lu Zhang was about to interrupt his cousin Feng Qingxiu's salivating look, someone came to call him, Lu Zhang, come out quickly. Why are you staying in the house? Come out and give your relatives and friends a cigarette. Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled, and said to Lu Zhang, go and do your work. Pay attention to your injuries. If you can't support it, use a wheelchair. There were so many women in the room, chattering in groups of 3 or 5, which was enough to make Lu Zhang, a grown man, uncomfortable. Didn't Niu Yubeo, who was following Lu Zhang step by step, blush? My eyes don't know where to look. You have a good rest, I'll come back later. After Lu Zhang told him, he turned around and left. People who saw the scene smiled knowingly. Okay, Lu Zhang, don't worry, we won't bully your wife. That's right, what are you, a grown man, doing among our women? Get out of here, get out. So, on the wedding day, the groom was kicked out of the new house by a group of aunts, leaving the bride behind to talk to them about their daily life. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 207. Soon, there were only a few women and a few little boys and girls left in the new house who were joining in the fun with the elders. However, The elders did not avoid talking to these children because they were too young to understand what the adults were saying. Wang Jiao never knew what politeness meant. She opened the four corners of the wedding quilt and took out several red dates and red peanuts and walnuts. The four things that mean having a baby early are red dates, peanuts, longan, and lotus seeds. But because it is difficult to get these four things together at the moment, everyone just sews some peanuts and red dates into the quilt. It makes sense. Seeing this scene, everyone laughed. Feng Qin, look at your Jiao Xiao, we have all forgotten, but she has not. It's all because Lu Jiang's wife is so handsome. We were so stunned that we forgot about the red dates and peanuts in the quilt. Yes, yes. Hearing everyone's joking, Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled slightly, which made everyone present have to praise her twice. The beautiful girl made people feel happy to see her. Wang Xiao, however, only paid attention to Feng Qingxiu's clothes. I will get married tomorrow and I will make clothes like this and dress like this. When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but said, hey, Jiao Jiao also wants to get married. Speaking of which, time flies so fast. Before you know it, Jiao Jiao is already a 20-year-old girl. Miao Fengqin expressed her frustration at her daughter's unrestrained words, laughed and scolded her for being a shameless girl, and then said to her, don't just think about good things. What your cousin has is a gift from your cousin's husband's comrades. When you get married, I wonder if you have any cloth tickets at home for you to buy cloth. Even if you have enough cloth tickets, you may not have such bright red cloth in department stores. Mom, can you just start preparing for me now? Wang Jiao curled her lips and said unhappily. She secretly decided to tell Zhang Yuejin and ask him to find a way to buy 2 pieces of red cloth to make her wedding dress. There is a wedding once in a lifetime, who doesn't want to dress up beautifully? Even if you are not as good looking as your cousin, you are still 10 times more beautiful than others, right? Zhang Yuejin is so proud. Miao Fengqin was about to scold her for being whimsical, when Feng Qingxiu hurriedly said, cousin, it's your good day and it's already cold. I'll make you a dress that looks better than a shirt according to your size. Shui, don't spoil her, Miao Fengqin said. Sister, Feng Qingxiu smiled gently, why are you doting on your cousin? Marriage is a major event in life, and it is human nature for my cousin to want to dress up nicely. Besides, I will act within my ability and will not show off. Although Wang Jiao has many faults, she still likes her now compared to her before. Probably because I have too many things on my mind, I particularly envy Wang Jiao for being so heartless and carefree. Children who are pampered by their parents always live a happier life than the average person. You can be coquettish and willful. Although Miao Fengqin kept blaming Wang Jiao in her words, her eyes were full of kindness, which showed that Wang Jiao ran away from home and caused huge losses to the family, but it did not affect her parents' love for her. Wang Jiao was really happy after hearing Feng Qingxiu's words, cousin, it's settled, we can't go back on it. Before, I called her by name, but now it's advantageous to call me cousin. It's really Wang Jiao's character. Wang Jiao's sisters-in-law in the crowd heard this and rolled their eyes together. Finally, you looked at me and I looked at you, and they couldn't help but laugh. Forget it, anyway, my sister-in-law's lifelong affairs are taken care of by her father-in-law and mother-in-law, so it won't affect her. To their family life. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 208. Feng Qingxiu caught a glimpse of her uncle's cousins and hurriedly greeted them. She often goes to Wang Zheng's country, so she naturally knows the specific situation of several cousins and can also see their characters. The wife of the eldest cousin Wang Dachun is named Wu Kuihua, the wife of the second cousin Wang Daxia is named Wang Haiping, and the wife of the third cousin Wang Daqiu is named Feng Xiaowai. Coincidentally, she is the daughter of Feng Erhu, who makes furniture for himself. It is said that Wang Zhenqiu asked Feng Erhu and his son to help with the Lu family's furniture and Wang Jiao's dowry furniture. When you marry into the Wanglu brigade, you have to pay attention to your interpersonal relationships. Feng Xiaowei said with a smile, "Today is my cousin's big day. Cousin, don't be polite to us, sit down quickly. We live in the same production brigade now, so we can meet and chat tomorrow." Just after finishing the sentence, someone outside was heard shouting, "The banquet is open, the banquet is open, take your seats soon." This sentence was more effective than anything else. In the time it took Feng Qingxiu to blink, the crowd in the room dispersed like a tide. Finally, only Miao Fengqin was left alone in the room. Among them, Wang Jiao was the most scurrying. "Everyone is quick. Hey, these people," Miao Fengqin laughed, but she was not dissatisfied at all. She knew very well that with the help of Comrade Lu Jiang, the 8 bowls prepared by the Lu family were no worse than those prepared by Feng Qingxiu. It was difficult for everyone to tasting the oil and water. He naturally looked forward to having meat and vegetables at this banquet, so he said to Feng Qingxiu, "I'm going out first and ask someone to bring you something to eat. You have to go out to recognize me later." Just as he was talking, Lu Tianjun sneaked in, holding a bowl of noodles made from fine white flour. "Uncle asked me to give Aunt a bowl of noodles to fill her stomach, so that she won't starve." Miao Fengqin smiled, "Better, I don't have to bother." After she went out, Feng Qingxiu took the noodles from Lu Tianjun's hand. They were lard and chopped green onions, warm but not hot. She picked 2 noodles and put them in her mouth to chew. After swallowing, she asked, "Tianjun, have you eaten? Don't want to eat together. I'll go out and eat 8 big bowls in a minute." "Auntie, eat quickly. I'll take out the bowls and chopsticks when you're done." "Good." 2 white and tender poached eggs lie under the noodles, giving Feng Qingxiu a burst of warmth. After finishing the noodles, Lu Tianjun rushed out with his empty bowl and chopsticks, his eyes filled with 8 bowls on the table. Lu Jiang didn't let Feng Qingxiu wait for long, and quickly came to pick her up to recognize her relatives and toast her. With Lu Jiang's ability, it is not difficult to buy wine. Mutai, 7 yuan a bottle. 8 banquet tables, 8 bottles of Moutai, and 8 bags at the front door have long made the drunkards and smokers who came to the wedding banquet salivate. These years of famine have meant that they haven't had a drink or a cigarette for a long time, not to mention that only cotters can drink Moutai. The national wine arrived. With the help of Comrade Lu Jiang, the Lu family cut about 10 kilograms of pork belly to make braised pork. They also had a bowl of stewed pork skin and pig blood that they bought for free, as well as stir-fried bacon, fried sausages, and scrambled eggs with dried beans. 1 bowl of stewed tofu, 5 spice peanuts, plus a large bowl of steamed vegetables, 8 large bowls, full, genuine. After the Lu family was classified as landlords, Lu Jiang showed his strength to the outside world for the first time. Niu Yubao, Chen Ming, Su Aiguo, and others who held important positions in Shili Baxiang, as well as Cheng's safety department of the grain station, were present to clearly tell all the folks in the Wanglu brigade that regardless of the poor status of the Lu family, Lu Jiang, you have comrades all over the world. If you want to trample on Lu's father or come to the Lu family to find trouble, you should weigh their weight first. First comes the soft one, who eats people with a short mouth and takes others with soft hands, and then comes the shock. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 209. People like Chen Ming are cotters in the city. They are in a good position for the city people. For the Wanglu brigade, they have a high position. They attend the wedding banquet and sit at the head of the table. The company is Wang Zhenqiu and the Lu family. The older man was very respectful. To toast, first of all, toast them. Chen Ming smiled heartily and said, Ajiang, brother and sister, live a good life after you get married. Brother and sister, I leave my words here. Ajiang will definitely return to the army after he recovers from his injury. You can take care of the housework at home, take care of the whole family, and take on all the responsibilities. With the heavy responsibilities of the family, if you encounter difficulties in life, you can come to me and your sister-in-law at any time. As long as we can help, we will never refuse. Feng Qingxiu picked up the wine glass filled with wine and offered it with both hands. Thank you, Brother Chen. Thank your sister-in-law for me when you get back. You and Ajiang have a lifelong friendship. Our family really encountered difficult problems that cannot be solved. I will definitely not. I'm polite to you and my sister-in-law. Chen Ming raised his glass and drank it in one gulp, revealing the bottom of the glass. Everyone cheered. Because of the white noodles he got from Feng Qingxiu last year, Chen An made friends with several of the leaders above, which also made his status in the city rise. He was very grateful to Feng Qingxiu for his generosity, and knew that Lu Zhang would definitely be better after he recovered from his injury. Taking it a step further, there must be no harm in making good friends with their family. He smiled and said to the newlyweds who came to toast, it's boring to say polite words. I can still speak well in the city. I'll pay attention to the recruitment news of various factories and units someday. Brothers and sisters, find a place to eat some commercial food. As soon as these words came out, everyone was really shocked. Cheng An's expression suddenly changed. Can it be easy for people to get job quotas? As the director of the grain management office, Chen Ming was powerful enough for them, but they didn't expect that Cheng An was even more powerful. Thank you, Brother Chen, Lu Zhang said with a smile while serving him wine. Qingxiu studied with many doctors and nurses at the military hospital where I was recovering from injuries. She is very talented in this area. After being introduced by the doctor at the hospital, I'll go to the mining area hospital in a few days to find a doctor to show her in. If I don't mind my talking too much, I might as well pay attention to whether the hospital is hiring after Qingxiu has finished her studies. After hearing these words, Cheng An looked at Feng Qingxiu with admiration. It is not easy for someone who can learn medical skills in a military hospital. So, he agreed very simply and neatly, no problem, I'll pay attention when I come back. Su Aguo said, mining area hospital? I'm familiar with it. My family members had headaches and fever, so they all went to the mining area hospital. Chen Ming slapped his head, yes, Aguo works in a coal factory. Aren't the coal plants familiar with the mining area? Ajiang, which doctor are you looking for? Ask Aguo, and Aguo will definitely know him. Dr. Wu Zhang, Lu Zhang said with a smile. Oh, Dr. Wu, I'm familiar with you, very familiar, Su Aguo gushed when mentioning the celebrity in the mining area hospital. Dr. Wu has excellent medical skills. He used to work in the capital, but for some reason he was transferred to the mining area hospital. Whether it is internal medicine or surgery, he is proficient in gynecology and pediatrics, but his personality is a bit serious. Even so, there is an endless stream of people who come to see him. If my sister-in-law has the opportunity to become a disciple of Dr. Wu, she must study hard and have a skilled medical doctor in our family in the future. Female doctors, everyone's face is more radiant. The old, middle-aged, and young people in the Wanglu brigade present here were more happy than anyone else after hearing these words. Why? Who in the countryside doesn't have a headache or a fever? Because there is no doctor, most of the time I have to endure it. If I can't survive it, I will die. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 210. If the Wanglu Brigade had a doctor, even if it could only cure some minor illnesses, the lives of ordinary people would probably be saved, and so many children would not die at birth, and all villages across the country would benefit immensely. Everyone said, "Lujang, you must have some snacks. Your wife has learned good medical skills, so you don't have to worry about the family." Those present here are all heads of families, and their words represent the meaning of the entire Wanglu Brigade. The implication is that as long as Feng Qingxiu can cure diseases, no matter what the situation is outside, they will not gossip about the Lu family's composition, and will protect the Lu family's young and old from being affected by outside policies. Feng Qingxiu felt a stone fall in her heart, pursed her lips and smiled, "I will study hard and live up to everyone's expectations." Lu Zhang continued, "Actually, Qingxiu learned a lot of skills in the hospital. She is embarrassed to say that she can treat minor ailments that are not serious. She also knows how to give injections and take medicines. She also learned from the doctors and nurses in the obstetrics and gynecology department. After delivery and postpartum care, Dr. Guo recommended her to become a disciple and learn more advanced medical skills because she didn't want to waste her talent." In Dr. Guo's view, Feng Qingxiu only had a little knowledge, but this knowledge was very powerful for the common people who were generally illiterate. Didn't everyone here show their eyes before he finished speaking? There was surprise in the light. Wang Zhenqiu began to plan to free up a room in the branch secretary's office and open a health clinic, with his niece in charge. The old, middle-aged, and young people in the Wanglu Brigade were all very happy and shouted that today was not in vain. The good news they received was enough to make the entire Wanglu Brigade, men, women, old, and children excited. Feng Qingxiu never thought that studying medicine would bring such great benefits. No wonder Lu Zhang supported her unconditionally when he heard that she wanted to learn medical skills and nursing. Glancing at Lu Zhang, who was indifferent to Yurong, Feng Qingxiu continued to toast to the elders of the clan. This time she toasted, but everyone didn't even acknowledge her properly, and their attitude towards her was completely different from before. During the toast, Feng Qingxiu discovered a very strange phenomenon. Don't look outside. As soon as the banquet was announced, the women and children in the new house flew out as if they were heading for the banquet. However, there were few women present during the banquet, and no children were crowded around the table, including those who heard the news. Wang Xiao, whose eyes light up when she eats. There were 8 banquet tables in the courtyard of my house, with 10 people on each table and 7.5 tables of old, middle-aged, and young men. Then, Feng Qingxiu discovered that only Wang Zhenqiu's family came, sitting at the top table. His wife, daughter, son, and daughter-in-law were missing. Only his father came to his uncle's house, and his uncle and several brothers did not come either. As smart as Feng Qingxiu, he observed it carefully and suddenly understood the reason. It seems that regardless of whether the son's family is divided or not, as long as the oldest old man in the family is alive, the old man will attend all wedding banquets. If there is no father alive but the mother is alive, one of the brothers will come forward. If both parents are not alive, the brothers are no longer a family. Everyone follows their own ceremony and is eligible to attend the wedding banquet. For someone like Wang Zhenqiu whose parents died and lived in Wanglu Brigade, all 3 brothers should actually come to watch the ceremony. However, since they were Feng Qingxiu's uncles and attended the wedding banquet there, their eldest son took his place.